Nostradamus left behind riddles for the end of time, and now all signs point to October 2025. Imagine this: an ancient seer, writing in code and symbols 500 years ago, warning of a burning star that would tear across the heavens, shaking nations, collapsing cities, and forcing humanity to confront its greatest fear. That moment he hinted at is now closer than ever. On October 29, 2025, Comet 3, Atlas, will streak dangerously close to Earth. Scientists call it just a wandering visitor, a harmless celestial body. But Nostradamus, mystics, and prophets across cultures saw something more. They described it as the harbinger of chaos, the vessel of beings unknown, and the trigger of the long-dreaded 3 days of darkness. Could we be weeks away from humanity's greatest trial? The Cipher, Nostradamus said, would mark the fate of all mankind. To understand why so many are holding their breath for October 2025, we have to go back to the writings of Nostradamus himself. In his quatrains, he spoke of fire from the sky, of a great star burning so brightly that men would think the sun had split. He described trembling cities, seas rising, and a terror that would descend not from earth, but from above. For centuries, scholars thought these passages were symbolic metaphors for war, famine, or plagues. But when a real comet, catalogued as 3I Atlas, was detected hurtling through our solar system, its timing aligned eerily with the very months Nostradamus placed his cryptic warnings. October 2025 is not a random date. It is the convergence of prophecy and astronomy, faith and fear. NASA observes 3I Atlas as an interstellar object, a rare wanderer from beyond our solar system. It is unusual, unpredictable, and unlike typical comets. Most comets loop around the sun in long orbits, but this one comes from the deep unknown, slipping between stars as if carrying a message, and when it brushes near Earth on October 29th, skeptics say it's just another cosmic coincidence. Yet prophecy interpreters ask a chilling question: what if it's not coincidence at all? What if this is the stranger Nostradamus foresaw, not a simple ball of ice and rock, but a sign or even a ship? Here is where things turn darker. Nostradamus wrote of strangers descending after the burning star, of 3 days where light would vanish and only those prepared would survive. Other seers echoed this. Padre Pio spoke of a darkness where demons and unknown entities would roam the earth. The Hopi spoke of a blue kachina, a celestial body that would mark the time when the ant people return. Baba Vanga, centuries later, warned of strangers arriving before the end of 2025. Could it be that across cultures and centuries, all these voices pointed to the same moment, the approach of something carried by this comet? Skeptics argue that prophecies are vague, that we only fit them to events after they happen. But what makes October 2025 different is the sheer convergence. A rare interstellar comet, timed exactly with multiple apocalyptic traditions, arriving in an age when humanity is both technologically advanced and spiritually fractured. Nostradamus called it the final cipher. A cipher is a code, a puzzle that unlocks truth only when the time is right. He left clues scattered through his verses, and now many are aligning them with 3I Atlas. It's not just about astronomy, it's about destiny. Consider the 3 days of darkness. This is not unique to Nostradamus. It appears in Catholic prophecy, in mystic visions, in Jewish midrash, and even in Islamic end-time teachings. The book of Exodus itself describes a plague of darkness that fell over Egypt, so deep that no one could move or see. In modern prophecy, this darkness is said to return at the end of days, covering the earth for 3 days. Some believe it could be caused by a massive solar event, others by volcanic ash, and still others by something cosmic, the passing of a comet whose dust clouds shroud the planet. But there is another, more unsettling possibility, that the darkness is not natural at all, but deliberate. An invasion strategy, a way for strangers to descend unseen, hidden by a manufactured night. The idea of an alien connection may sound like science fiction, but Nostradamus was not alone in hinting at beings from beyond. His quatrains describe figures in the air and a new race arriving when the burning star appears. Baba Vanga spoke of strangers from afar, beings who would test humanity not with weapons, but with their presence. Edgar Cayce, the American prophet, warned of a time when visitors would come during global upheaval, and only those spiritually prepared would understand their purpose. Even modern UFO reports align with these warnings, describing sightings increasing near comets and meteor showers, as though these celestial bodies are more than rocks they are cover. So what exactly could happen on October 29, 2025? One possibility is that Comet 3I Atlas will unleash debris, causing meteor storms and earthquakes. Nostradamus' cities shaken could be literal seismic events triggered by gravitational forces. Another possibility is electromagnetic disruption, plunging regions into blackout, the darkness that prophets feared. But the most chilling interpretation is that the comet serves as a vessel, a carrier. Nostradamus' use of the word cipher suggests hidden meaning, something concealed in plain sight. What if 3I Atlas is carrying more than dust and ice? What if it is carrying life? Here is where science and prophecy collide. Interstellar objects like 3I Atlas travel for millions of years between stars. They could, in theory, carry microbes or even artifacts of civilizations beyond Earth. Scientists call this panspermia, the idea that life spreads across the universe on comets. Prophecy, however, goes further. It suggests not just microbes, but intelligence, a race of beings waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves. Nostradamus warned of a test, not annihilation but judgment. The great man will be struck down in the day of darkness, he wrote, hinting that leaders would fall, nations would break, and humanity would be forced to choose between fear and unity. Let us pause here and reflect. Every age has believed it was living in the end times, but never before has prophecy and astronomy lined up so precisely. October 2025 is not just about one comet. It's about the entire web of signs converging, the wars already shaking nations, the climate disasters intensifying, the technological divide growing, and now a celestial visitor whose path matches warnings written centuries ago. Nostradamus did not see random chaos. He saw a cipher, a final puzzle piece that would unlock humanity's fate, and we are standing on the threshold. Many ask, if Nostradamus truly foresaw this, why speak in riddles? Why not give exact dates and names? The answer lies in the nature of prophecy itself. Prophets speak in symbols because truth that is revealed too early is ignored, mocked, or destroyed. Only when the appointed time draws near do the symbols align, and the meaning becomes clear. October 29, 2025, is that alignment. A burning star in the sky, earthquakes in unprepared cities, darkness falling, strangers descending. Whether you see it as metaphor or literal, the convergence is undeniable. And what of the aftermath? Prophecy suggests that this event is not the end, but the test. The final cipher means humanity must decode not just Nostradamus's words, but the meaning of existence itself. If strangers descend, are they conquerors or are they messengers? If darkness falls, is it punishment or protection? If the comet passes harmlessly, is it a warning shot, giving us one last chance to change course? The frightening part is that the choice may not lie entirely in our hands. Nostradamus hints that humanity will be divided, some embracing the strangers, others resisting violently. The greatest danger may not be the comet, but ourselves. As October approaches, governments remain silent. NASA speaks only of trajectories and data, carefully avoiding prophecy. Religious leaders tread lightly, unwilling to stir panic. But behind closed doors, preparations are being made. Military forces rehearse blackout scenarios. Shelters are stocked, and among the people, whispers grow louder. Nostradamus may have written in riddles, but the timing is too sharp to ignore. The world is uneasy, as if bracing for a storm no one dares to name. What should we do, then? Prophecy does not call us to panic, but to awaken. The true test of the cipher is not whether we can predict the exact hour, but whether we can prepare our hearts. If strangers come, unity will decide whether we meet them as one race or as fractured tribes. If darkness falls, faith will decide whether we endure or despair. Nostradamus spoke not just to terrify, but to warn. The fate of the world rests not in the comet, but in our response to it. The chilling part is how his words echo across cultures. The Bible warns of stars falling and darkness covering the earth. The Hopi speak of the blue Kachina. Baba Vanga said strangers would arrive before 2025 ended. And now, an actual interstellar comet appears at the precise time. Skeptics dismiss it as coincidence. But prophecy rarely gives coincidences, it gives patterns. And the pattern now points to October 2025 as humanity's most decisive hour. Pause for a moment. Imagine waking on October 29th, looking up, and seeing a star so bright it outshines the moon. Imagine the air trembling with falling debris, cities rattling with earthquakes, and then silence, darkness. 3 days where no sun rises, where the only light comes from candles, where whispers spread that they have arrived. Whether you believe in aliens, angels, or demons, the psychological impact would be the same. The world would never be the same. That is the weight of Nostradamus's warning. That is the cipher. And so, as we draw closer to this fateful date, the question lingers, are we ready? Not with weapons, but with wisdom. Not with fear, but with faith. Nostradamus left the cipher for us to solve, and now the pieces align before our very eyes. October 2025 is not just another page in the calendar. It is the page that may decide the book's ending. The comet approaches, the prophecies resound, and the hourglass runs low. Brace yourself, for what comes next will test not just our survival, but our soul. If the comet's arrival on October 29, 2025, is indeed the trigger Nostradamus foresaw, then what happens after those 3 days could define the entire future of humanity. The frightening truth is that prophecy doesn't describe total annihilation. It does not say Earth is destroyed, wiped away in fire and ash. Instead, it speaks of survival, but survival through transformation, through a passage where humanity emerges either humbled or broken. And that, in many ways, is more terrifying than simple destruction. To face a test of spirit, not just of flesh, is to be stripped of every illusion. The comet is the cipher. The outcome is the answer we provide. Imagine the aftermath. If the world is plunged into 3 days of darkness, the first hours would be consumed by fear, cities would descend into chaos, communication would fail, panic would spread faster than reason. In the silence, strange lights might appear in the skies. Some would whisper of angels. Others would cry out about invaders. And the line between superstition and reality would blur. When day finally returned, humanity would not be the same. Nostradamus wrote that a new race will arise. Many interpret this as aliens, but it could also mean a transformed humanity, a people reshaped by their confrontation with the unknown. Either way, the world we know now would be gone. And what of the strangers? Prophets across cultures never described them clearly, as if even their visions could not put these beings into human words. Nostradamus simply said they would descend after the burning star. The Hopi said the ant people would return to guide or judge. Baba Vanga spoke of strangers who would test mankind's unity. The uncertainty is deliberate, as if we are meant to confront them without prejudice, without certainty, and only reveal who we truly are in our response. If they come in peace, will we welcome them? Or will our fear turn them into enemies? If they come in power, will we resist hopelessly, or will we seek wisdom in their presence? This is why Nostradamus called it the final cipher. It is not about them. It is about us. The most unsettling part of the prophecy is the division it hints at. Nostradamus wrote that the great man will be struck down in the day of darkness. Many believe this refers to leaders, perhaps a global figure whose fall will symbolize the collapse of old power. Imagine the destabilization if world leaders vanish or crumble in those days, governments collapsing, military forces split, and ordinary people forced to find strength not in authority, but in each other. Division could be the real apocalypse. For if humanity faces the strangers fractured, fighting among ourselves, the test is already lost. But there is another possibility. Nostradamus was not always a prophet of doom. In some quatrains, he hints at a rebirth, a golden age following the chaos. If October 2025 is the cipher, then the message could be not of destruction, but of awakening. Perhaps the comet is not here to end us, but to open our eyes. Perhaps the strangers are not conquerors, but catalysts forcing us to see how fragile we are, how dependent we are on unity, and how quickly our illusions of control can vanish. The 3 days of darkness could be the labor pains of a new dawn, painful, terrifying, but necessary for a rebirth. Still, prophecy does not allow us to sit comfortably. It warns of the cost of failure. Nostradamus saw burning cities, seas swallowing shores, and famine spreading like shadow. These are not just natural disasters. They are the consequences of humanity failing the cipher. If we respond with fear, hatred, and violence, then the comet's arrival becomes not a doorway, but a curse. The strangers may not need to destroy us. We will destroy ourselves in our panic. That is the terrible irony of prophecy. The greatest enemy is never the comet or the strangers, but the choices of mankind itself. And yet, hope lingers. Some traditions teach that those who prepare spiritually will be spared the worst. Padre Pio urged people to have blessed candles, to pray, and to trust during the days of darkness. The Hopi urged humility, saying that only those who lived in balance with the earth would survive the great purification. Baba Vanga said the stranger's arrival would separate the wise from the arrogant. Preparation is not about bunkers or weapons, it is about the heart. That is the hidden truth of the cipher. Those who meet October with fear may be consumed by it. Those who meet it with faith may see beyond the darkness. As we look at the calendar and see October 29, 2025, drawing nearer, the question is not whether Nostradamus was right about every detail. The question is whether we are ready to face what happens if he was even partly right. Prophecy does not ask us to predict the future with charts and data. It asks us to prepare ourselves so that when the moment comes, we do not falter. Whether the comet brings fire, strangers, or simply awe, the test will be the same. How does humanity respond when confronted with something greater than itself? And so we stand on the edge of the unknown. The comet approaches. The prophecies echo. The world trembles with wars, disasters, and unrest, as if preparing for the final act. Nostradamus left us the cipher, a riddle whose answer is written not in books, but in our choices. Will October 2025 be remembered as the month humanity fell into chaos, or the month we stepped into a new dawn? The answer lies not in the heavens, but in us. The star will burn, the darkness may fall, the strangers may descend, but the final cipher is humanity itself, and time is running out. The last great mystery of Nostradamus's warning is not the comet itself, not even the strangers, but the question of timing. Why October 2025? Why this exact moment in history? When we look at the state of the world right now, the answer seems painfully clear. Humanity is divided like never before. Nations are armed to the teeth. Trust between governments is shattered. And ordinary people live under the constant weight of fear of war, fear of disease, fear of collapse. We are standing on a knife's edge, and it would not take much to push us over. Nostradamus may have chosen this time not because of astronomy alone, but because he foresaw the fragility of our age. A burning star in a united world would inspire awe, but a burning star in a divided world becomes the spark of destruction. Think of it. Prophecy has always warned of choices. In every tradition, end-time visions are not inevitable punishments but crossroads. The comet does not come to erase us, but to reveal us. The 3 days of darkness are not the end of the sun, but the unveiling of the soul. And the strangers, whoever they are, do not descend to enslave us, but to test what humanity has become after millennia of history, conflict, and learning. Are we ready to join a greater cosmic story, or will we prove unworthy, consumed by our own arrogance and fear? Consider the chilling possibility that October 29th is not a singular event, but the beginning of a chain reaction. Prophecy rarely speaks of one day, but of a season, a period where one sign follows another. The comet could be the first trumpet, so to speak, a cosmic alarm ringing through creation. What follows could be waves of disasters, both natural and man-made. Earthquakes splitting cities, tsunamis swallowing coasts, strange diseases rising from the shadows of chaos. The strangers may not come instantly, but their shadow could be felt in the months that follow. Nostradamus often wrote of years of turmoil before renewal. That suggests October 2025 may be the opening act of a story far longer and more terrifying. But hidden within his warnings is always a glimmer of hope. Nostradamus wrote of a new city and a new order that would rise after the chaos, implying that humanity, though scarred, would survive and be reborn. The question is, what price must be paid for that rebirth? Do we lose millions, billions, before we finally learn unity? Does the darkness sweep away whole nations before the light dawns again? Or could it be that, for once, humanity listens to the warning and prepares in humility rather than arrogance? It is easy to dismiss all of this as coincidence, to say comets come and go, and that Nostradamus was only a poet of doom. But if it were mere coincidence, why does it strike so deep in the human heart? Why do his words, written in riddles centuries ago, seem to pierce through time and speak to us now? Why does the very date, October 29, 2025, carry such an eerie weight, as if the world is holding its breath? Even skeptics feel the unease, because deep down, we know we are vulnerable. We know that in the vastness of the cosmos, Earth is but a fragile blue dot, and one event, one burning star, could alter everything. This is where prophecy fulfills its true role. It is not about fortune-telling, but about awakening. Nostradamus did not write to entertain, but to shake us awake. He left us the cipher so that when the signs appeared, we would not be blind. Now the signs are here. The comet is real. The darkness is warned. The strangers are whispered of in countless traditions. The wars and disasters of our world already echo his words. We are living inside the prophecy, and the final cipher is not about predicting it, is about deciding who we will be when the moment comes. And so, the greatest question is not, will October 29th bring the end? But what will humanity reveal about itself when the test arrives? If the lights go out and the skies burn, will we cling to fear, tearing each other apart in desperation? Or will we find courage, faith, and unity to face the unknown together? That choice is not made on October 29th. It is being made now, in every act of kindness or cruelty, in every decision of unity or division. The cipher is already unfolding, and each of us holds a piece of the answer. As the day draws near, some will scoff, some will prepare, and some will pray, but no one will escape the weight of it. Because even if the comet passes quietly, even if October 29th comes and goes without catastrophe, the world will not forget that we stood on the edge. We will remember the tension, the fear, the silence of the unknown pressing down on us, and that memory alone may be enough to change us or to haunt us. Perhaps that, too, is part of the cipher, the realization that the world we take for granted can change in an instant, and that life is more fragile than we ever believed. In the end, Nostradamus's final message is not about death, but about choice. The burning star will come. The darkness may fall. The strangers may descend. But the cipher, the code that decides the fate of the earth, is not written in the heavens. It is written in the hearts of mankind. And so the warning is simple, yet terrifying. Prepare your soul, for October 2025 may not just be the turning of a calendar. It may be the turning of the age. The fate of humanity will not be decided by the comet, but by how we face what follows it. So as you hear these words, as you picture the comet streaking across the night sky, ask yourself, are you ready? Are you ready for the darkness, for the strangers, for the test that prophecy says is coming? Because Nostradamus' cipher is not solved by scholars, scientists, or leaders. It is solved by you, by me, by every human being alive on this planet. October 2025 is not just the month the comet arrives. It is the month the mirror is held up to mankind. And when we look into it, what will we see? The countdown has begun. The burning star approaches. Nostradamus' riddle unfolds. And the world, our world, stands at the edge of its most decisive hour. The final cipher waits. And the answer will be humanity itself.